I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the new Netflix TV show Hellbound, and if you didn't know, that's actually based on a webcomic that is now available on Webtoon. I decided to check it out. There's only 4 chapters that are currently available right now on Webtoon, and honestly, this comic, it's hard for me to say because there's only 4 chapters out. I'm not gonna say it's like my favorite comic. I'm not gonna say that, oh my gosh, I recommend it to everybody because it is for mature audiences. It handles a lot of topics that other comics do not, but it is easily, without a doubt, the most unique comic I have read on Webtoon. It's the sort of thing I wouldn't expect to find on the app, and it just proves that Webtoon honestly does have kind of like every genre. The reason that I say that is because it tackles this discussion, this idea that isn't seen anywhere else that I've found on stories that are similar, on platforms that are similar. The idea of life, morality, right and wrong, justice, God, religion. It's wild, and it does this all through this slightly supernatural yet mysterious lens. So what is Hellbound? Hellbound is essentially our world, everyone just going about their daily lives, and some demons show up. But they're not demons, they're angels, right? They're angels, and they only go after the people who are bad. Essentially, if you get this due date sometimes, and it's like, you're gonna go to hell. You basically get this notice that says, you're gonna go to hell at this time or this day or whatever, and when the time comes, these demons basically drag you to hell. It's pretty gruesome, and that's one other reason why I say, this comic is not for everybody. It's pretty gruesome. But it's so fascinating because it sparks this discussion amongst the people in the community. I think it's Seoul in Korea. And they're basically, some people will say it's fake, it's not real, there's some conspiracy going on. And then on the other side, you have people forming cults and religions so that they don't end up like them. And then you have the detectives who basically treat these murders as murders, Who's the culprit? What's going on? They're treating it on a very surface level, and that's why I like this comic. It's so grounded. I use that word to describe some of the other comics on Webtoon, but there's no flashy anime protagonist with spiky hair and, there's nothing like that. There's no tropes or anything. It's the real world. It's the real world, and, some of the main characters just look like completely ordinary people. People you would consider background characters in other comics. And that's why I like it, because they really are just background characters in the grand scheme of things. They're main characters to us, but to the world, they're just another detective, or another cult leader, or another person who got hunted down by demons. It happens every day. And the fact that the art style is done in black and white just further solidifies this. I was trying to think why. Why does black and white, why does it do that to me? Why do I imagine it being more realistic? I don't know. It's so hard for me to describe, and maybe it's more like a manga in that way, but at the same time, it's totally got that webcomic style. I don't know, the black and white just further adds to the realism for some reason for me. My favorite part about this comic so far, because there's only been 4 chapters, it's not even the angel demons that come and hunt down people or whatever, it's none of that. It's the moral dilemmas that these characters have. There's this character who's essentially the leader of a religion. He claims it's not a cult, but his whole story is that he wants to spread the idea that you can be saved. You don't have to go to hell. Be a good person. Redemption, And he has this story where he grew up at a Catholic orphanage, and he basically went through so much bad in his life, but when he experienced this phenomenon, it changed everything, And now he's an amazing person. He gives so much to charity, but the people who are talking to him are basically like, okay, but doesn't that remove our free will? If we're good and we're saved, but if we make mistakes and we just we get brutally murdered and taken to hell by these angels, how is that free will? And it's man, that's such an interesting conversation. That's just one small snippet. I'm not even explaining it properly, but it's one small snippet in a variety of different conversations, dilemmas, and relationships that exist in Hellbound. That's why I want to keep reading it. That's why I think this story is very unique, and it stands out all on its own. I like it. I like it a lot. If you're a fan of action and you're not a fan of dynamics and relationships and that sort of thing, you prefer the action over that, then maybe it's not for you. But for someone like me who likes action, I find a lot of enjoyment in reading these discussions. The chapters aren't very long either. It's not like you're really committing, and this is the time to hop on if you want to read it, because again, there's only a few chapters out right now on Webtoon. Whether you watch the Netflix show or whether you just read other comics on Webtoon, I do recommend Hellbound if you find this sort of thing enjoyable. So check out the link down below if you want to read it for yourself. Download the Webtoon app. Of course, huge shout out to Webtoon for sponsoring this video. So many good stuff on the site, or on the app, however you choose to read it. I mean, you've got different genres. Hellbound, I would consider more of a psychological, it's kind of horror, but not really from what I've seen so far, more thriller maybe. I don't know, it's a lot of psychological discussion, but you also have, of course, action and fantasy and slice of life, everything on Webtoon. So if you want to support me, support Webtoon, then check the link down below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and with that being said, I will see you in the next Webtoon review. Take care.